And then you're making an intentional, your word, and a lot of people word, you're making an intentional choice to forgive, even when emotions don't align yet. So I'm not feeling it,
Oh, yeah, I see.
but I'm making a choice to forgive.
Okay, so that's a big thing that I think we want to emphasize is that I don't feel any different, but I've actually made a choice to start the process of moving on. But I should not be alarmed when immediately I don't feel it. It reminds me of when people come to Christ. Mm-hmm. Hey, so I made a decision to give my life to Christ. I just got up from praying. Now, oftentimes there's a tremendous difference, but other times you feel the same and you wonder if anything has happened, but your whole life has changed.
Right. And it walks itself out if you...
Yeah. So you're saying, I'm going to have the uncovering. Man, this is really causing me problems. I'm going to intentionally decide to forgive. What's next?
Well, before we go to the next phase.
Yeah, let's keep going.
Because I think it's interesting that the decision phase is the second phase. It's not the third or the fourth phase.
That is interesting.
Yeah, it's the second phase.
See, it's something about...
You're providing a lot of insight. I have my doubts about you being here in the studio.
Hey, I may leave.
But the insight you would be forgiven. But the insight that you're providing is really good.
Absolutely.
And they said the younger generation was going to...
Who is the they, first of all?
Yeah.
If anything, the younger generation is going to save the world. No.
The younger generation is so insightful and so wonderful.
You know why? Mental health.
I do think they're so insightful and so wonderful. Anyway, so let me just stay right here on the decision phase. So you have made an intentional choice to forgive, even though the emotions don't align yet. It's an act of the will, often rooted in values, faith, and a desire for freedom. Okay, so one of the key points here would be forgive is first a decision before it becomes a feeling.
You know, this reminds me of for people who have businesses or your goal setting, a lot of times you'll set that goal and what it does to your brain is it tells your brain this is what we've decided to do. And your brain, because your body is not here to hurt you, it's here to help you. So it's it's actively now trying to decide how to make this happen. So you've decided you want to forgive. Now your brain starts to go to work.
So since you make that analogy, goals should have deadlines. Goals should be written down. Is that part of what you're going to encourage us to do?
Well, it depends on sometimes.
Should we be writing stuff out?
Sometimes it is good to write out. Okay. I choose to forgive so-and-so for this. It's a good thing to write that out. Describe it.
You mentioned earlier writing a letter. Are you going to mention that any more about that?
Well, I wasn't, but you can.
When you say writing a letter, you mentioned that earlier.
Let's say I'm writing a letter to you. The person can be alive or passed away, but mainly it's when the person has passed away. They're not in your presence anymore, but you need to get those emotions and feelings out, so you write a letter.
Whether the person's living or dead, well, I guess let's talk about living. You're not writing a letter that you're going to, I think you're say, you're not writing a letter you're going to send.
Absolutely
Or writing an email you're going to send. Mm-hmm. This is a letter for you.
Right.
So I'm writing a letter to you that I'm not going to send to you to help me.
Right. It's like a journal entry, but it's in letter form. Yeah, absolutely. All right. So
for those of you who heard her say that earlier and wrote the letter and sent it.
No, we don't want to send it. No.
Okay.
Well, we need to hear it all before you start.
Don't do anything to the show, though. Just hold right there.
So we have the uncovering phase. Mm-hmm. We have the decision phase.
And now this is the work phase. So you're actively reframing the situation. So you're seeing the offender as a flawed human being, rather than just through the lens of the hurt.
I think when
I want you to look at that.
When you have to when Mom talks about seeing them as a flawed human, okay, you said I already know that, but I think it's deeper than that. A version of that person, or the person that you've come to see, and whether a lot of times we do this unconsciously, we make determinations, set rules, set things in our brain about who people should be based on who they've been. Mm-hmm. And so because of that, it's almost like you have to remind yourself in this phase, hey, this person is flawed, meaning even your expectations of them, they're not always going to meet.
Okay, I understand. That helps.
Okay.
Helps. It's kind of like my approach for coping with people in traffic. The person who cut you off in traffic did not wake up that morning
looking for
trying
you
to ruin your day and intentionally make you late for work. It was flawed behavior. Right? Is that I mean,
Yes, Dad.
a lot of people are in their own little worlds, and you just happen to step into it, and you're all, yeah.
Okay, I understand.
Okay, so and also you want to develop empathy, not excusing, but understanding the context. Does that make sense?
I think so.
So here's an example.
Okay, yeah, this might help me.
I may never agree with what they did, but I can understand they were broken themselves.
Wow.
So I can say, I love my father, right? And by my father, he could be somewhat mean sometimes, but I recognize the life that he grew up in and the things that he had to deal with every day. And so I could show him grace, but I had to learn that. Does that make sense?
It does.
Yeah, it does make sense.
Yeah.
It does make sense.
Okay, the deepening phase. This is phase number 4.
How many phases are
It's 4. 4, only 4.
In the notes.
So you're moving, listen to this, you are phase 4, the deepening phase. You're moving toward releasing. So where the pain loses its control over you, right? You've made that decision and you're going to this direction now. Finding new meaning in suffering, sometimes seeing personal growth or strengthened faith through this phase. This is where true emotional freedom begins to take root.
Finding new meaning in suffering, past suffering, not that you're suffering at that moment.
Absolutely. So you're moving toward releasing this person. And in this phase, if you go deeper into this phase, it's going to help you see this person totally different now. And that's how the release is going to come in there. And like I say, you don't expect your people to just get to this phase all willy-nilly in 4 weeks, let's just say. Wow. No. Sometimes people get stuck on the second phase, and we've got to work through that. And then the third phase, and then, eventually they get to that final phase. But that's work that takes some time as well.
So I think for me, it took me probably a year and a half, maybe 2 years to forgive my ex-husband.
Really?
I didn't know you were doing
I know unforgiveness. Me either. Why would you?
Y'all have never been divorced.
well,
y'all have never gone through divorce before.
So what were you upset with him about besides?
Yeah, what about taking some personal accountability?
First of all, we haven't gotten there yet, but it also took me about that long to forgive myself.
Okay.
So it was both of them together. That's why I said maybe a year and a half for him and then maybe 2 years for myself. I felt like the person who I go back to those expectations that you have for somebody, the person who I had met when we were in Switzerland, the person who I had seen was not that person that ultimately came to America. They weren't that person. And I feel like he left me to do everything and to be the person who was taking care of everything. And I felt so much resentment, and there was unforgiveness around that because I kind of also felt like, well, why did you go and ruin this? Because we had set this was our plan. We had made these plans, and this is how it was supposed to go. And I'm a huge planner. I think anybody who's a planner can understand that, but you can't plan everything in life. You can't plan people. So, it took me a very long time to just overcome all of those feelings and ultimately forgive him, understanding that he did have a very difficult childhood and a very different childhood to mine. Understanding that he, gave up a lot to come here to a new country and to start his life over. And understanding even just him not really knowing or kind of giving stock to mental health. That was a big thing because I was like, I think you're depressed. You need to go talk to someone, whether it's a mentor or someone at the church, whoever. And he just never took action with that. But, that sort of difference in who we are. And then because we haven't talked about forgiving yourself, but I think I was the hardest on myself.